right, I think we'll get started. Good morning. My name is Stephanie Keister, and I work for Virginia Edge Strategies. We are happy to facilitate this webinar today, and we hope that you learn valuable information. And I'm going to turn it over to our partners to get the webinar started for us.
Thanks, Stephanie. Good morning. Thank you for joining us for today's I2I Employability Skills webinar. The I2I Employability Skills webinars are designed for high school students in Northern Virginia school divisions to connect with industry professionals to prepare for career success. Today's session is hosted by Prince William County Public Schools CTE Workforce Development Coordinators Nasir Ayub and Daniel Meyer. We are excited to welcome our presenter and business partner, Keosha Sanders, CEO of Infinite Staffing Solutions. Today is our final I2I Employability Skills webinar, which will focus on job interviewing. During today's session, please feel free to share any questions in the chat. We will share responses to any unanswered questions on the I2I event page. The I2I Planning Committee is excited to share that we are in the process of securing a date for an in-person career fair and expo event for high school students at the Dulles Expo Center in Chantilly, Virginia. At this time, we'd like to turn it over to our featured presenter.
Good morning, everyone. Danielle, thank you for the amazing introduction. As Danielle mentioned, I am Keosha Sanders, and I am the CEO of Infinite Staffing Solutions. And today I'm going to teach everyone what a job interview is and how to actually conduct a job interview. Next slide. Next slide. So, what is a job interview? A job interview is a formal discussion, either in person or virtually, between a job seeker and an employer. The interview is conducted to assess whether or not the job seeker's qualifications, skills, and personality are a good fit for the job. Next slide. So in order to prepare for a job interview, there are several things that you can do. First being, make sure you're able to explain all of the information on your resume and understand the job description for the position you're interviewing for. Research the company and the person you're interviewing with. Learn the company's missions, values, products and/or services that they offer, and how long they've been in business. Prepare questions for the interviewer, such as what are the hours of this job, and look up the interview location so you know where to go and approximately what time you need to leave to get to the interview so that you'll arrive on time. Next slide. Other things you can do to prepare for a job interview are to make sure that you dress appropriately. And what that means is you want to dress for success. So dressing for success means to wear either business attire or business casual clothing. So business attire is a suit jacket, shirt and tie, and dress pants and shoes, or a suit jacket, blouse and/or dress pants, skirt or dress. Business casual attire is a collared button-down shirt or a polo shirt with dress shoes, or a blouse with dress pants or a blouse with a skirt and dress shoes. And you always want to make sure that you bring 2 to 3 printed copies of your resume, and also to bring a pen and paper to take notes. So these are just some examples of some particular clothing styles that are appropriate to wear for a job interview. So some of the things to do while you're in the job interview: shake the job interviewer's hand when you greet them and look them in the eye. Relax and appear confident. Be polite during the interview. Do not look away when answering questions, and also to think before answering the questions, but try not to take a long time with your response. So the first question during an interview is typically going to be, tell me about yourself. So what this will include is information such as your name, if you think it's necessary to provide that, your latest education, and any relevant previous job experiences that you may have, or achievements and/or hobbies. So an example would be, hello, my name is Keosha, and I'm a junior at Freedom High School. My favorite subjects are biology and math. I'm a member of NSBE and I run track. My greatest accomplishment is being inducted into the National Honor Society. I want to pursue a career in, at that point you would insert whatever job that you're there to interview for. So some common and possible questions in a job interview. How did you hear about this job? What do you know about our company? What interests you about this role and what motivates you? Why are you leaving your previous job if you have one? What are your goals in the future? And what qualities are you looking for in a company? Additional questions may be, why should we hire you? What makes you unique? What are your greatest challenges and how do you deal with and or overcome them? How do you handle stress, especially when it comes to the work that you're doing? How much money do you want to earn for this job? And what are your strengths and weaknesses? So, describing your strengths and weaknesses. This is typically the most dreadful question for both, new job seekers and people who have been interviewing for quite some time. So, I'm going to give you some helpful tips on how to answer this question. Next slide. Okay. So, for your strengths, you want to describe things about yourself. So, that you're a flexible person, meaning that you're flexible as far as if you needed to change your working hours and working schedule. You enjoy taking initiative. You're a team player. You're focused, creative, open minded, scheduled, organized, innovative, high self confidence, independent and decisive, and hardworking and determined. Some descriptors for weaknesses are insecurity, you're overly detail oriented, overly analytical, nervousness, dealing with new people, slow in getting used to new routines, and don't like asking for help. So, some tips to deal with this kind of question are explain briefly and clearly to avoid unnecessary information. Don't mention a weakness that is related to this job, but when describing your weaknesses, feel free to also mention what you have been doing to overcome the weakness. Be confident and convincing when you're telling your strengths and mention the strengths that are relevant to the job. It's okay to not be able to answer a certain question, but do not panic when it happens to you. However, you can't just leave the door open and just say, I don't know, or simply don't provide a response at all. So you could also ask for time to think about the answer if possible, skip and go to the next question and come back to the question at a later time. So, some examples for responding to a question that you don't have the answer to at that particular time would be I'm sorry, I have not been in that situation. If faced with it in the future, I think or I imagine that I would respond by doing X, Y, and Z. Or I'm sorry, is it possible that we talk about this question later? I've never been in that kind of situation. I just need more time to arrange my answer. So at the end of the interview, most interviews will conclude with the interviewer asking you if you have any questions. Please always make sure you have questions for them. So some examples would be, what does the company look for and value most in new employees? What would my job duties be in this position? Is there room or a chance for cross training or career advancement? What does the hiring timeline look like? Which means, how long is it going to take from the time that you interview someone to determine when you actually want to hire someone? This is also a great time to mention something you love or like about the company. Be prepared with previous experience or research on the organization. So, for example, if you are interviewing with a restaurant, you would say, my favorite thing on the menu here is I love the baked ziti. It's amazing. Or if it's a store, you would say, I love shopping here because you guys offer great deals. Or in general, if it's just a company, you would say, I saw on your website that you guys are really interested in climate control and different ways that you can help the environment. After the interview, you want to make sure you shake the interviewer's hand and tell them, thank you for your time today, and ask them for a business card. When you get home, you want to send a thank you email to the recruiter and also to the person that interviewed you. Now, in the event you don't get the job, feel free to ask the interviewer, is there anything that you could have improved on? A helpful tip to redirect discouragement is to think of the interview as practice for your next one. But overall, the number one takeaway is to always be confident in yourself and, that's it, just be confident. So I want to say good luck to everybody on all your future interviews. And if you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat. You can also contact me, the information provided, as well as send any additional questions to the Bitly link that we provided to you.
Thank you, Kiosha. At this time, if there are any questions, please feel free to drop those in the chat. We do have time and we would like to address any questions that you might have.
Feel free to ask me anything.
All right, I don't see any questions coming through the chat. So at this time, if there are no additional questions, we would like to end our webinar this morning. And thank you all for joining us. The recording will be available after. Kiosha, thank you so much for all of your expertise in job interviewing. We greatly appreciate your time and energy this morning.
You are very welcome, and good luck to everyone on your future interviews.